So important guidelines with these cat food toppers, they should only be around 10 to 15% of your cat's total daily intake. For example, if your cat eats 4 ounces of food daily, you would give around half an ounce of fresh food toppers daily. Start slowly and focus on adding 1 food topper at a time because cats are very sensitive to dietary changes. Hey friends, it's Jess Jericho, and first we'll talk about choosing your ingredients. So you want to try to buy the best that you can. Organic, pesticide-free, hormone-free, antibiotic-free, and no extra ingredients added. Variety is key. Try to buy what's in season from your local farm or farmer's market if you can. Lots of color means more nutrients. And stick around until the end because I'll also talk about foods that you should never feed to your cats. The first fresh cat food topper we'll talk about is animal-based protein. So the first option is muscle meat. Thighs and hearts are a great example of muscle meat. The harder the muscle works, the more taurine there is. You can feed this raw or lightly cooked. If you're going to buy raw, it's better to buy whole cuts of meat rather than pre-ground meat. Pre-ground meat that sits under the deli case with lights and a clear wrapper is more likely to have surface bacteria on it, and you can't rinse away the surface bacteria with ground food. So buy whole cuts of boneless meat. That way you can wash off the surface bacteria. If your cat won't eat it raw, cook it and then gradually cook it less and less until your cat does accept it raw. But if your cat still doesn't want to eat raw, lightly cooked fresh meat is still better than no fresh food at all. Just keep in mind that taurine is water soluble, so the more you cook it, the less taurine there will be. Liver is another rich source of taurine plus vitamins and minerals. Offer liver in very, very small amounts, very gradually. It's extremely rich, and some cats might get diarrhea if you give too much of it too quickly. And chances are your cat's food hopefully already contains liver, so you don't want to overdo it. I would say stick to it maybe a few times a week, very, very tiny amount. And again, if your cat won't eat it raw, you can cook it and then, cook it less and less each day. Raw goat milk is another great cat food topper. It has less lactose than cow milk, and it's a great source of probiotics, enzymes, and other nutrients. Liquid is best, but if you can't feed liquid, you can also buy powder and then just rehydrate it with water. If you're feeding kibble, you might want to sprinkle the powder on it as is and then very slowly, gradually rehydrate it so your cat gets used to the wet consistency. Eggs are also a really great powerhouse of nutrients. If you're going to feed it raw, you have to feed both the yolk and the whites or the yolk only. Raw egg whites contain avidin, which can destroy biotin, but cooking the whites destroys the avidin. So if you want to cook the eggs, cook them over easy, that's going to help preserve the fatty acids that are present in the egg yolks. And cooked egg whites is a great way to offer more protein with not a lot of phosphorus. And again, eggs are very rich, so start off very small, especially if you're feeding the yolk raw. You can also make fresh bone broth at home. I'll leave a link to Dr. Karen Becker's recipe for bone broth in the description. And of course, you would never feed cooked bones to your cat, just the liquid. So I would say within the 10 to 15% of fresh food toppers that you're adding, aim for the majority of that being meat. So 80 to 90% of that 10 to 15%. So again, if you're feeding 4 ounces of complete and balanced food to your cat daily, half an ounce of that would be the fresh food topper. 0.4 of that half an ounce would be meat. And don't forget to remove equal parts of your cat's current food as you don't want to overfeed your cat. The rest of that 10 to 15% can be veggies and fruits. But Jess, you said plants are bad for cats. Yes, cats are obligate carnivores. They're designed to get their nutrition from meat. But plants can provide vitamins and minerals, and chances are the food that you're feeding already contains plant-based ingredients. So offering the fresh food version of these plants is still better than no fresh food at all. You'll just avoid very high starchy carbohydrates foods. Limit those to a few times a week. By the way, all of these ideas come from Dr. Karen Becker's book, Real Food for Healthy Dogs and Cats. This video is not sponsored, but there are affiliate links in the description. So low starch and low carb content veggies include zucchini, broccoli, celery, Chinese cabbage, leafy greens like kale and spinach, and cauliflower. But other acceptable veggies include bell peppers, chard, collards, cucumbers, squash, pumpkin, carrots, and sweet potatoes. You want want to discard all of the rinds, wash them very well, steam the veggies, and then puree them as much as you can. You can add a little bit of water to the puree to help it along. And again, try to puree it as much as you can. The more you can break it down, the better your cat's going to absorb those nutrients. Pureeing it breaks down the cell wall and also releases the nutrients. So that's going to be better absorption and assimilation for your cat. Remember, variety is key. You don't want to stick to the same things every single day. Specifically, those veggies that are in the broccoli family, this can add too much iodine to the diet and that can affect your cat's thyroid. So again, variety is key. Some fruits that you can feed to your cat include blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, mango, peach, pineapple, strawberry, watermelon, cantaloupe, and apple. And again, same with veggies. You would discard the rinds, wash it very well, and puree it with a little bit of water if necessary. And again, variety is key. Now, foods that you should never feed to your cat include plants that have allium in them, which include onions, chives, and leeks. Now, garlic is a little bit of a controversial topic for cats and dogs. If it's the right kind of garlic and if it's a very small amount and you offer it properly, it can offer benefits, but I would only suggest doing this if you're working with an herbal practitioner and or a nutritionist. So if you're not working with an herbal practitioner or a nutritionist, just avoid garlic. Other foods that you should never feed to your cat include raisins, grapes, currants, and sultanas, chocolate, macadamia nuts, cooked bones, a sweetener called xylitol, and ethanol, which is present in alcohol. Ethanol is also present in paints and some antifreezes, perfumes, and mouthwashes. Obviously, these aren't foods, but they are likely in your home. And if you're interested in upgrading the actual food that you feed, check out this complete guide right over 𝐤𝐄𝐅. Thanks for watching.